Hey guys, so just more updates. It is July 3rd, the day before the 4th, our country's 250th anniversary. I cannot even tell you how excited I am for the 4th of July. I love the 4th of July. Well, my last video, I wasn't doing so well, and I loved that people commented. I was shocked when I finally actually realized that there were comments on it. And so I did respond, but sorry that it was late. I'm glad that the video did find those of you who needed to see it that day. I will add like the same search terms that I did last time. I think that's what made it so that people found it, and so that it showed up on your homepage. Anyway, I am now 6 months post-op, and I've had some really good days, so I wanted to share that. So this week started out, let's go back to last week. I did a shot for my autoimmune disease, ankylosing spondylitis, and also a shot for my hemiplegic migraine condition. Ankylosing spondylitis eventually causes your spine to fuse together, and it can cause the hunchback that sometimes people get. So that's why medication is important to stop the back fusing together. It causes really bad back pain, which is what I was dealing with before the shot last week. And then the hemiplegic migraines, that one's important to treat because untreated, it causes early onset strokes and repeated strokes, and also a lot of cognitive problems. So I did those 2 shots. I did them a couple of days apart, of course, but I have to do them both monthly. And yeah, maybe I'll eventually be able to get to a schedule where I can have a couple weeks between, like do one like in the middle of the month and then the other 2 weeks later. Anyway, this was the first time I've done those shots since having type 1 diabetes. At least the first time I've noticed these side effects. I got so sick the first couple days afterwards because I guess they cause your blood sugar to rise. So for 2 days, I could not get my blood sugar under control. It was 400 and staying at 400, no matter what I did with my Omnipod, like no matter what dose of insulin was given. And then it was compounded by realizing that I had a broken Omnipod. So I changed the Omnipod. We got a hold of the endocrinologist by Monday. So like last weekend, I was super sick. I had a Good Friday. Then Saturday and Sunday, I was in bed. We got a hold of an endocrinologist on Monday. Sunday night, we had changed the Omnipod. And then when she let us know that it was because of the shots, the endocrinologist let us know the shots were what caused the high blood sugar. That helped my stress a lot because when you have something new and you're already so chronically ill, it's like, oh crap, what now, And so that helped a lot. And so between the stress levels and a new Omnipod, my levels started, and then I also got out of bed because I started feeling better because with the insulin actually working, my levels lowered. So being out of bed made it go down even further. And so by Tuesday, I was well enough to drive my son home from his zoo crew volunteer shift. And then I took him to Culver's afterwards to go out to eat. I don't remember the last time I was well enough to do that with him. He was ecstatic, and so was I. And then that evening, we watched we watched Iron Man. We watched Thor together as a family, and this Tuesday. And then I had finally gotten the touch-up paint that matches my home. So like when we bought this house, we got a folder that had all of the numbers for paint, so you could buy the exact same carpet and touch-up paint and stuff. Anyway, while I was driving home from the zoo, I called my husband and I was like, I'm not gonna make it by 6, but could you get the paint from the store, because I'm feeling like I still have some energy. I want to do some touch-up paint on the walls, because I really love scrubbing the walls when I feel good enough, but as you cleaners will know, the paint comes off. And so while we were the watching Thor, I was touching up places on the wall, and that was Tuesday. Wednesday, I got a pain block because my pancreatitis, well, I don't have pancreatitis anymore because I don't have a pancreas, but my nervous system still thinks I do. So I've still been having the pain, and it's been a month since my last celiac plexus block, so I was in like a 9 out of 10 by Tuesday night pain-wise. So Wednesday I got a block, and then the rest of the evening just had to rest, because that's what you have to do after a block. And then yesterday was a great day. I wasn't well enough to drive Grattan to his zoo cruise shift yesterday morning, but I was well enough to be awake and spend the hour and a half in the morning with him before my husband drove him. And then that afternoon I spent shopping with my daughter at Goodwill and Hobby Lobby, and she met some friends there and they exchanged phone numbers, and so now she's got a new friend group so that was great for her. And she was just so happy to be able to spend time with me, which made my day, of course. And then last night, the kids went and did their own thing, and David and I watched this movie. I forget the name of it. It was a horror movie that's also funny. It was hilarious. And then last night, then afterwards, we went to bed. I was actually able to go to bed before 5 in the morning. So I woke up again this morning and still was feeling good. I ate breakfast. I got ready to go. The plan was the whole family was going to go to Idaho Falls. Normally today's not Grattan's zoo crew volunteer shift, but he picked up a shift so that somebody else could go on vacation early. He's such a sweet boy. And so the plan was for me, David, and Kaylin to spend time at the zoo and at the skate park in Idaho Falls. But after eating and stuff, I needed to rest. So I stayed home and rested. And now that I've had a rest, I decided I'd make this update and let you guys know how much better I'm doing. Also on Tuesday, did I mention that on Tuesday, before picking my son up from zoo crew, which that's like a 45-minute drive, that's what's such a big deal. I haven't been driving in the last 6 years at all, period. But before that, I trimmed the tree in our front yard. Yes, my husband can do it. Yes, my kids can do it. But I love yard work, and I was able to do that. And so that just was a great feeling. And last week, before the shots that made me super sick, I also got to get out in the front yard and do some yard work with my son. It's such a big deal that a neighbor literally walked to our house and said, I just had to see if my eyes weren't deceiving me, that like, those weren't his exact words, but he was like, am I really seeing Sonia out doing yard work with her son? And yes, I was, and my flowers are growing. They're beautiful. Every Mother's Day, my son and husband would replant flowers because we always forgot to pull them up before the frost so that they would last for the next year. Well, this year they regrew. I swear they're a different color. They're orange. And I swear last year they were pink and red or something like that. But I can't find the pictures from last year. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up because I've got some things that I wanted to do before David and Kaylin come back. I'm going to decorate the house for the 4th of July with a couple things we got at Hobby Lobby yesterday. And anyway, I'm just doing much better. And so for those of you who are going through chronic illness or post-Whipple or post-pancreas total removal like I am, there it does wax and wane, like my doctor told me at the follow-up. Sometimes it's harder than others, and who knows, maybe in a couple of hours I'll be sick again. And by sick, I mean like sometimes after a Whipple and stuff, you're sick. Your food comes up. So maybe I'll be back on the bathroom floor in a couple of hours. But for now, everything is going amazing, and I wanted to share it with other people. A quote from my favorite author, Brandon Sanderson. One of his characters who suffers from depression shares this quote: "You will feel warm again." And that's something I think very important for us all, not just chronically ill people, because everybody has their hard times and a lot of mental health challenges. All of us, remember, you will be warm again. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Love you all. Bye.